We've actually gone through section 2.4 in our book and ready to get to functions, the difference between functions and scripts. A script is just a file. You can have commands in it to just do some calculations. Here's the script, for example. Pulling up a script. Come on, where'd it go? There we go. Guys, please hold it down. Whisper if you've got to talk to each other. So here we have a script. We even put some comments in it and set it up nicely so that we could use the publish command to make a nice Word document out of it. But we don't have any way to pass variables in and out of a script. Yeah. What's up? Oh, right. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay. So this is a script. Basically, though, you can't change anything. You'll notice. That's what functions are for. New file. If we go to new file, I right-clicked in this window here. Current folder window. Right-click here. New file. You can also do it from up here, by the way. That is how you make a publish file. So it gives you an example of how to create a publish file. It's a script. It's a special kind of script. So you can thoroughly document, you can well document your code. That's what we talked about last time, literally. This is what we talked about last time. A script file, on the other hand, I can right-click here, or I can use this here. A function file, on the other hand. This is where you get to send variables into and get variables out of the function. So if I want to, for example, I want to know the point in the circle, say, let's see, let's make our output arguments radius and angle. Oops. And GLE, not. So I'm going to put out two arguments. And the input arguments are going to be X and Y. No. No. So I'm just going to calculate, given X and Y, what are my R and theta, radius and angle on a circle. So the comments explain what goes on with the function, things like that, just like comments in the script file. And the radius, x squared plus y squared is the radius. It has a little warning symbol right here. It tells me it's got a little squiggly orange under arrow, and it's kind of highlighted the equal sign. What that's telling me, Matlab really tries to give you hints about things that could go wrong. It's a warning. It's not an error. You might get results that you don't really want. So it's warning me to put a semicolon at the end. As soon as I put the semicolon at the end, the warning goes away. The reason for that is if you don't put the semicolon, if you don't put the semicolon, it'll output. It'll just print out in your window, and you might not want to do that. When I put my cursor over that warning, it told me what the warning was all about. Okay. Now I got another problem with this function. I need to find, radius is the square root of x squared and y squared. It's not the just x and y squared. Okay, there we go. That ought to do it. And I put my semicolon up, and I ought to be fine. Angle equals. I think arc atan is the correct function. I'm not sure. And let's do it in degrees. Angle in degrees of y over x. There is a help system in Matlab. Like a lot of systems, the help is the question mark. Hit the question mark. And our help system is messed up. I might have to ask for a reinstallation of this. If you're connected to the internet, you can get math work. You can go to the website and get a good help system. So let's go, where's support? Support, and get help, documentation, and it'll get you to your help system. There, a bunch of arctangents, which will give you your inverse angles. So you got the regular stuff, hyperbolic arctangent, 4-quadrant, which might be useful if x and y are both negative, for example. You're not between 0 and 90 degrees. You're between 180 and 270 degrees. And so you can go to a 4-quadrant. If you don't, this one here will go from 0 to 180. And 180 to 360 it ignores. So you got to be smart about that stuff, by the way. If you're expecting something to go to the lower left, the regular arctangent will say it's going to the upper right. So you might need this 4-quadrant arctangent once in a while. You'll notice the 4-quadrant, though, doesn't take degrees. It's kind of like Excel. You got to convert your degrees to radians. So for our function, I wanted to warn you about that, and a way to look things up. I wanted to point you to the help system. For some reason, the help system on this computer is kind of messed up, so I went to the MathWorks website to get help. It's identical. The help system on the website is identical to the help system, the way the help system should be with your product. Okie dokie, back to Matlab, the editor. So we got these two things. Yes, everything ought to be fine, so I can save it. And I'm going to say Cartesian to polar. Nope, not going to. Decided, you know, it's a decision you got to make. And it gives me another warning. I saved the file name as cart to polar. I got to change the function name to cart to polar. You want the function name to be the same as the file name. You'll get messed up if you don't, because when MATLAB goes and looks for the function, it looks for the file. It doesn't look for what's inside the file. It looks for the file itself. But anyway, so it'll mess you up if you do not have the same function name as it'll mess you up if you do not have the same function name as your file name. Let's go back. There we go. It gives me a warning if I don't. And do I have a way to, I forgot if I have a way to redo on this. There it is. There's the redo button. I can just put what I had before. There it is. Go back to, now the function name is the same as the file name, and everything ought to be fine. Save. And Control S works for saving. On the command line, I can just use cart to polar. This, now, what's it telling me? What is the answer? What? So I'm supposed to get two things. Why aren't I? I just used the function, and I'm gonna change the format so that you only have one. You don't have all those extra lines. But type that again. Right? But what is that answer telling me? What is that the answer to? Correct. Correct. I'm not getting the angle out, am I? Well, we're not getting the angle at all. We're not getting radians. We're not getting degrees. This is the radius. Radius. This is the radius. What is the square root? So the radius of a circle with a 0.11, y is 1, x is 1, square root of 2, right there. So here's how you get, if you have two outputs, you got to specify, let's see, the first output was the radius. You'll notice I'm naming it something different than what's inside the function. You can do that. Everything here in Matlab is what's called passed by value. In other words, the value, the number goes into the function, and the number goes out. It's not like you're changing this variable radius. You've got to set it equal. You got to have the equal signs. You got to set things. It's passed by value. It's passing a number out. It's not passing a variable. It's not passing a reference out. It's not passing a variable out. It's passing a number out and passing numbers in. The input and output. It's just here's the variable. Here's the number that variable contains, and here you go, function. We're going to take it into the function. We're going to use that number. Then when it goes back out, it says here's the number. I'm not going to tell you what the variable is. I don't care what the variable is. I don't care what the variable contains. Here's what is inside. So you can change things. Things can change. If you don't remember that, things can happen inside of a function that you're not expecting, unless you remember it's passed by value. Radius and angle. Let's see. I'll just use DEG for degrees. I'm setting up an output vector. There. There's my output vector. I'm setting up an output vector to receive the output vector that the function's sending. Here's the output vector the function's sending. Right. R comma angle. This is what the function is sending out. So this is being sent. This is what's being received. And we'll see what happens. And you know something? I think. Ooh. It doesn't. There. It works. It works. The for some reason I just entered this and it didn't know what it was. I just forgot to enter it the wrong time. When I typed the whole thing in, it worked. There, this everything. For some reason, I hit return right here, and I forgot that I did that. So the second time, I said, "Oh, I forgot all this stuff." So I'm going to put it there because that's what it needs to be. And boom, you got it. No. If let's go back here. Let's do that. Let's do the experiment. There. Yeah. Whatever the first output variable is, if you set this ordinary equals, you don't have an output vector. If you set the ordinary equals, whatever the first argument in the output list is, it goes to the variable. To get the second argument in the output list, you got to do this. Or the third, or the fourth, or however many outputs there are in the argument list. You do it that way. Okay, that is functions. And of course, you can design and build big, hairy functions as big as you want, things like that. A what? A what now? Oh. Okay. This is, yeah. Let me go do that. That's actually a good problem. So let's go 0 to 2. X ranges from 0 to 2, and Y will range from I'm trying to think. Oh, I know what to do. I'll calculate Y. Hang on. Let's make it steps of 0.2. No, the steps are 0.02. That'll be 100 steps. So if X ranges from 0 to 2, then you'll get 100 points on this step. And I'm going to do a calculation for Y. Okay. That's right. So I'm going to make a circle of radius 2 this way. While so X is going from 0 to 2, Y is going to be 2 minus X squared. And actually, I'm going to do something a little different yet. Oh, there's a problem with this. Does anybody know the problem? Gives you a good heavy hint what the problem is.
Inputs must be scalar and a square matrix.
Right. We have a matrix. We have a vector. So to calculate, this just squares each element of that vector. Now I don't think I need it on the 2 because that's already a scalar. There. That ought to be fine. Now I want to change X. I want to go X equals -2 to 2. I don't want it 0 to 2. 0 to 2 will give me the first quadrant. -2 to 2 will give me the second quadrant as well. And I'll change the step size so we have 4. I'm going to make 100 points. I'm not going to go crazy on the number of points. And I got to recalculate Y now. There we go. Everything ought to be okay. Now let's try our function. Cart to polar.
And when you change the X value, it automatically replaced it, right? There's not another X value?
It automatically replaced it. That is correct. There. Let's try that. And I will, I'll go ahead and do it without the semicolon. We'll get several hundred points out. It ought to work. No, not quite. Another type of error. Another vector. That's right. We got to be careful. The in here we don't have the periods. We had a vector and we didn't have the periods. So the same thing that happened out here, the same thing that happened here, is happening inside the function. And it tells us is at line 4 of the function. So we've got to go fix that. Matlab really does try to help you out with error messages that are meaningful, that help you track down where the mistake was and how to fix it. Save the function. Let's go back to Matlab and let's try it again. Ooh, it likes it. Let's plot. Radius versus degrees. And why isn't it doing... I got lots of... of course, radius is always going to be 2. What's degrees? Ooh. Why doesn't it like that? We'd have to find out what x and y. Okay, I'm going to go look at x and y. X should range from -2 to 2. Y should range from... y is lots of values. X are lots of values. I think I know the problem. We want to do it element by element here also. This, when you do y divided by x, it is assuming you're trying to divide matrices. So I need the period there. This is a more subtle error. Matlab didn't tell me what was wrong. This is where our own thinking has to come in. Our own understanding has to come in. Let's see if it works this time. Let's see. No. The period goes with the operator. This is our new operator. This says do our operations element by element. The period goes with the operator, goes with the caret, the up caret. It goes with the division sign. It goes with the multiplication sign, the addition sign, the subtraction sign, and so forth. Although you don't need it with addition and subtraction. The way matrices and vectors add and subtract, you just add them element by element, you subtract them element by element. But with multiplication and division, it does. Okay. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, it likes what it's doing. Let's plot it. There we go. And let's see if it likes the plot now. Go to the figure. Ooh, it likes it. And of course, the radius is 2. We forced the radius to 2, but of course, the angles range from -90 to +90. There it is. So it's kind of a... Just plot x. Okay. There is a polar plotting routine, and I forgot, I think it's polar. I might be using it wrong. I can't remember it exactly. Ooh, maybe it'll do it. Ooh, it did. Okay. So that's functions and working. Section 2.6 is working with arrays and matrices. You guys have already seen some of that stuff. This is a good time for me to stop. The section 2.7 has to do with anonymous functions. Symbolic, okay.